Hello hunters, and welcome back to my story. Let's begin part 19. Akka asks Godi who him is. Then Godi says that while he was still standing in front of the Fountain of Wishes, someone appeared and sent him flying towards the city wall. That someone is the ancient evil usurper king, Zephyr, second king of Eladin, who was sealed away 100 years ago, and the cause of all the suffering across the cosmos for the past century. He has somehow returned, and now he's somehow regained his full strength, and he plans to continue what he started over a century ago. Akka then goes off to fight Zephyr on his own, despite Godi's protest. When Akka gets there, he sees Zephyr and feels his power, which is so intense that it has him trembling. Despite this, Akka unleashes his full power and his magic power, and Zephyr notices him, but doesn't recognize him. Then Akka introduces himself and says that his two sons have been defeated. Zephyr doesn't seem to care, but he does acknowledge Atka's strength, and he challenges him. Atka creates an ice Calibus with his magic, and Zephyr recognizes the blade. The Calibus was a blade that he created to convert life force into energy, and he handed it off to Zin. Then eventually Zin handed it off to Halloran. Atka then attacks Zephyr with the blade, but Zephyr blocks all the attacks and beats up Atka. Atka falls to the ground and is back in his base form. He stands no chance against Zephyr's overwhelming power. Then Zephyr comes down and breaks Atka's legs, but he's not done yet. He's about to finish Atka off until he gets interrupted by 6 warriors who learned about the situation from Godi and decided to intervene. Dry, Lee, Jay, Akiro, Curtis, and Enzo. Alexis fall behind them, and they decide to distract Zephyr while Alexis takes the now injured and unconscious Atka as well as Godi to the infirmary, and they come up with a plan to defeat Zephyr. Alexis takes them there, and now everyone sits in there to watch over the injured and come up with a new plan. Here begins to get angry at Atka for being too reckless. Then Alexis defends him, saying that he was trying to protect everyone and he was being brave, but then Yer says that there's a difference between being brave and being an idiot. This makes Alexis more mad, and the two start arguing. Blair stops their fight, saying that there's no time to fight amongst each other, but the time to think of a way to defeat Zephyr. Now they all think of how they can use their abilities and teamwork to defeat Zephyr. Meanwhile, even the 6 orphans working together isn't enough to stop Zephyr. He's about to strike Curtis down, but someone blocks his attack. It's Spirit. Back where Earth was, Spirit and Goo began to fight while jumping around on all the rocks. Because Goo was weakened, Silver Spirit won the battle and started to fly towards Eladin. It took him a while without a ship, but now he's finally here and ready to fight Zephyr. Even Spirit's strongest attacks don't put a scratch on him, and Spirit starts to get mad. He begins to charge towards Zephyr, but Zephyr fires a beam that cuts him in half. Spirit, now in 2, falls to the ground and goes unconscious. The 6 Orpheus begin to attack even more fiercely now, as Stry unleashes his lightning magic. Kevin arrives on the scene and sees what's happening. Stry tells him to leave, so he takes Spirit's body and heads back to the infirmary. Zephyr tells the 6 of them that they're very different from the Orpheus in his time. They were savage, weak, and couldn't use magic to save their lives. Yet these 7 are much nicer and stronger, and 2 of them can use magic. He also notices that 5 of them are merely half-breeds, being half-human, and says that in his time, one Orpheus was kind unlike the rest and went to Earth. Unlike Curtis and Enzo though, he never revealed that he wasn't human. He never had children there with the humans either. His name was Lar, and he was friends with Cherrikin's first king, Jordan Cherrikin. Lar was also the first chief of the Royal Guard. They had their positions for a long time, but eventually they retired. Jordan made his son, Aros Cherrikin, the new king. Lar made another friend of his, the second chief, Larry Brostow. This is all that Zephyr knows, but meanwhile, Jerry and Eldest tell the entire story. Aros would eventually make his son, Jerry Cherrikin, the third king. Larry would eventually make his son, Jacob Brostow, the third chief. Early on in Jerry's reign, Zeus Zuso and his kingdom went to war with the Cherrikin kingdom, and Jacob died in that war, making his only child, Shelia Brostow, the 4th chief of the Royal Guard, even though she was very young at the time. Because of this, Shelia has always been very strong. When she was only 15 years old, she went on a mission to infiltrate the country of Zuso and spy on Zeus and his army for 5 years to see if he's up to anything, then return with the information. She had no useful info when she returned though, as Zeus caught onto her plan and kept things hidden. That's the story of Earth's kingdoms, but it goes much deeper than that. Stry and the others had no idea that there was an Orpheus on Earth long before them. When Elvis was about to continue, Kevin walks in with Spirit. Spirit is immediately placed on a bed. His condition is terrible and he's fading fast, but he can still be saved. He can be put back together if Eldest, Blair, and Clara all use their strongest healing spells on him. They do just that, and Spirit is saved, but he's still unconscious. He has come up with a plan, but he decides to wait until Atka, Spirit, and Godi wake up and put it into action. While they wait, the 6 Orpheus are still fighting Zephyr, and everyone at the infirmary decides to share their stories. With this, the entire story so far is told. It all started well over 100 years ago, in the year 660. When Chimerus Eladin became the first ever king on the planet. He was accompanied by the very skilled wizard, Zephyr Barris. However, Zephyr would soon betray his king. Over the years, he murdered 2 female chimeras who were close to him, Everly and Starlight. He then used their souls to create his 2 children, Zabuzar Barris and Zin Barris. Eventually, the deaths of these 2 ladies were discovered, and in year 666, using his magic, Zephyr had everyone believe that chimeras killed them, so he was arrested, and Zephyr became the 2nd king of Eladin. He ruled for 20 years while also raising his children to become ruthless tyrants just like him. After those 20 years, in year 686, 3 mages used a spell called Finalis to seal the king away, at the cost of their lives. On that same day, Zin went to Planet Dark to conquer it, turning the once peaceful race into an evil army. He also drove the Spriggan to near extinction because he saw them as a threat. Only 10 Spriggan never faced his wrath: Dragot, Foray, Boku, Outcast, Hunter, Joji, Nardix, Soul, Peace, and Magi. Also on that same day, Zabuzar went to the Demon Realm to conquer it, becoming the Demon King. During Zin's reign, he attacked several planets, including Orpanai in year 710. However, the planet's king at the time, Atlas Orpanai, joined them just so his race would be spared. This alliance continued through several years of his son Orpano's reign. In year 726, several members of the alliance were born. Orpano, Orpanai's son Curtis Orpanai, and Nick Dren's son Enzo Dren were born. The Prince of the Shadix, Hikage Shade, and the Prince of the Glarics, Hikari Glare, were born. The Chimeras Roshan Dynex, Junior Skyer, Wormlet Aderi, Raihi Axon, White Skyer, Leon Skyer, Oppo Mudeno, Yerzis, and Eldis's younger son, Cowie Eladin, were also born. Finally, Eldis's older son, Godi Eladin, was born. 5 years later, in year 731, Curtis and Enzo were banished. Also, Halloran's branch of the evil Dark Spirit army attacked planet Neutronia, so Hokage and Hikari escaped. Eldis had feared that his planet would be attacked next. He wanted the children who were sent to Earth to be protected, so he sent 5 chimeras off to Earth, including his oldest son, Godi. Several years earlier, in year 700, Zin's first son, Halloran Barris, was born, and Chimeras Eldin passed away at 100 years old. Then his son, Eldest Eladin, became the 3rd king of Eladin at only 10 years old. A few days after Zephyr was born, in year 620, his brother Sam Barris was born. 5 years later, in year 625, Sam proved to be too light-hearted for Zephyr, so he used his magic to seal him in a crystal. In year 700, Eldest discovered the crystal and freed Sam from it. Then Eldest entrusted him with the secrets of the universe book and sent him to Earth to hide it. Once Sam did that, Zeus took him in and raised him. In year 740, Jake Perks and John Hino were born. In year 741, Gerald Perks and Josh Hino were born. In year 742, Joel Hino was born. In year 730, Dear Martian and Zin's second son, Spirit Barris, were born. During year 742, when Curtis and the Hokage, Hikari, and the Chimeras were teenagers trying to find a life, Zin sent 3 of his elite soldiers to conquer Earth and steal the secrets of the universe book. Hikage and Hikari stopped them though. Several other members of the Alliance were also born in year 726. They are Jerry Cherrikin, Annabelle Moran, Claire Enos, Sarah Serrano, Rose Flora, Lily Flora, and German Archipelago. The woman who was Enzo's wife, Mary Deno, was also born. So were the 12 warriors who fought Zabuzar's army and got turned into the 12 demon spawn. In year 743, there were a lot of marriages. Curtis married Sarah, Enzo married Mary, Gear married Claire, and Jerry married Annabelle. Jerry also became king shortly after. In the next year, year 744, Curtis and Sarah had their first kid, Jay Orpanai. Hans was also born this year, and so are the 10 Spriggan that exist today. 3 years later, in year 747, Lee Orpanai and Michelle Yeri were born. In year 748, Stry Orpanai, Shelly Abrasto, Kevin Cherrikin, and Blair Martian were born. In year 749, Atko Orpanai and Alexis Cherrikin were born. This is also the year where Jay and Wormlet ran away, and where Zabuzar first arrived on Earth. The Royal Guard's 12 most powerful warriors, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Topaz, Opal, Amethyst, Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Gold, Silver, and Iron, take him on, but they got turned into demons and were taken away. After this, they were assumed to be dead. Then they'd soon become the 12 demon spawn. In year 750, Akiro Dren, Enzo and Mary's first and only kid, was born. On that same year, Zin secretly sent several more troops to Earth, including a space station in orbit to do experiments, and his most elite soldiers being Ultra, Mananzo, and his son Halloran. In year 751, the parents of Jake, Gerald, John, Josh, and Joel were killed. Also, this is when Zeus revealed himself and declared war on Cherrikin, starting the Cherrikin-Zuso War. Zeus was born in year 680 and went to Cherrikin in year 695, took Sam in year 700, got married in year 730, and had Hans in year 744 and started the war in year 751. His country lost the war, and he used the Fountain of Wishes to form a wall of mountains to make himself stronger and to grant himself eternal youth, which is how he never died of old age. In the year 755, Holorum attacked Enzo's home, possessed Enzo, and had him kill his wife Mary. Then Akiro and Raihi ran away. Gear also left his family to train at this time. Holorum had attacked many homes, and Gear's reason for leaving was to be able to defeat Holorum. 2 years later, in year 758, Jake, Gerald, John, Josh, and Joel could no longer take living in Zuso and moved to Cherokee. Then they separated and planned to rule the world. In year 763, Delia went to Zuso on her mission. In year 765, Hikage and Hikari stole the Calibus from Holorum to prevent him from getting any stronger. In year 766, Ultra was slain at the Dark Castle. A year later, in 767, a lot of things happened. The remnants of the Ultra branch of Zin's army was defeated in the Dark Castle by Atka. Atka also slayed 4 of the Titans of Cherokee with the Calibus. Enzo was defeated by Atka and killed by Holorum. Holorum was killed by Hikage and Hikari by the Calibus, and the Calibus turned to stone along with Holorum then. Mononzo also put his portal plan into motion, but it was stopped by the Alliance, and Mononzo was killed by Stry. Then the Tournament of Will happened, and in it Gear, Akiro, and Raihi returned. Gear was defeated easily in the first round, and evil began to awaken in his heart, and he left again. Akiro and Raihi became part of the Alliance, and he worked with the other Orpanists to destroy Goliath and stop Project Dark Cannon. In year 768, Project Goo was stopped by Curtis. Then Gear returned now that it has been 6 months since his wishes for power, riches, and immunity to the forces of nature. He recruited the Power Squad and begun to plot. Spirit has also arrived and attacked the Alliance. Then he was defeated by Atka in the Dark Castle. During the ordeal with Goo, remnants of Zin's army split into 2 groups. One group reported back to Zin, and another went to a secret room in the Dark Castle to start on Project Goo 2. After Spirit's defeat, Shelia returns from her mission with no info. Then Zin arrives, imprisons everyone in the Alliance except Akiro Raihi, and begins to destroy the towns and villages, alongside his clones of villains past. Thanks to Akiro Raihi, everyone escapes their prison, and the war against the darkness begins. Although they suffered heavy losses, in Kevin already being dead from the ordeal with Spirit, and Zin killing Curtis, Hikage, and Hikari, they defeated the clones, Zin, and the 12 demon spawn, and with that they won the war. After this, Atka and Alexis went off to the Fountain of Wishes to fix the damages caused from the Spirit's attack and the war. On the way, Atka slayed the final of the 5 Titans of Cherokee and found and recruited Jay and Wormlet. At the fountain, Jake revived Spirit, then Spirit killed Jake and Atka was able to recruit Spirit, then Spirit left to find Zin's spaceship. On his way there, he went to the Dark Castle and destroyed the lab that Goo 2 had been developed in. Atka made wishes to restore damages from the war and revive everyone killed by Zin and his army. Atka and Alexis returned out, and Gear and his power squad begin their plan with the airship, but Atka and Roshan stop it, and the 4 are arrested. In year 769, Zawazar arrives. He's killed, but Atka and Godi die in battle. Spirit wishes them back. In year 772, Kevin stops Gerald and gets him arrested. Then Gear is freed. Then Jake returns and revives Zin and Zabazar, then the 2 fuse. Fusion Zabuzin kills Jake, then self-destructs, taking Curtis down with him. After this, Atka, Hans, and Sam discover Project Goo 2. Then Atka, Stry, Lee, Akiro, Jay, Gear, Alexis, Kevin, Hikage, and Hikari partake in the Tournament of Worlds, and Stry wins. During that, Gerald, John, Josh, and Joel are stopped again by Hans and Shelia, and the 9th Spriggan, who had just joined Zeus' side, attack Planet Archipel. At the end of the tournament, Curtis is revived. Later, Hikage marries Rose and Hikari marries Lily. In year 773, Zeus, alongside the 9th Spriggan, start the Second Cherokee-Zuso War. In it, the 5 Titans of Zuso were slain, Zeus dies, and the elite soldiers and the 9th Spriggan are stopped. Jake's revived, and him and his siblings are recruited into the Alliance. Then Goo 2 emerges and destroys Earth. He's defeated by Spirit, and now, Zephyr has broken out of his seal. Thanks for watching part 19 of the story. Stay tuned for part 20, where the entire Alliance fights Zephyr. I'll see you guys then. Happy hunting.